church to where they can hear about a God that can literally change their course, their life. And that's what we want to talk about. So when I was that kid on the field, my mother taught me about God. She drugged me to church every Sunday. I tell you, I was getting drugged. I mean, I promise you, I would rather be out there throwing the football. Any of y'all young people like to throw footballs? Yeah, you rather do that than go to church, huh? Tell the truth. Tell the truth. Yeah. But listen, she drugged me to church, and I'm so thankful today that she did that. Amen. Because that is the foundation. That is the foundation of bricks. How many of y'all have ever seen a brick house before? Anybody out of young people? And guess what? We can go out and we can build this house, and you can build a house, but if you build this big old nice house, but if that foundation is not secure, if it's not strong, then everything that you build on top of the house, all the wood, all the brick, all the nice paintings, and all the stuff you put on inside, the hardwood floors, all that stuff is going to crumble down. So the foundation today, and that's what I want to talk to you guys about, the foundation is your faith. See, I live off a principle, and a principle that I've gained over the years that God has placed in my heart, and that is faith, family, and now finance, but then it was football, okay? And those things carried me all the way through my life. So when I came out of Columbus, Georgia, I was a little lad. I ended up playing ball, and I ended up starting to play in high school ball. And first of all, let's back up. When I was 5 years old, and this is going to be a testimonial, guys, so y'all bear with me. When I was young, at 5, I ain't young no more, so I said, but when I was 5 or 6 years old, I played football one time. And I was like, man, Mom, this ain't for me. And Mama was like, you ain't going to be able to quit. You don't never quit when you start something. And that was one thing she told me. She's like, don't quit when you start something. And so she made me finish that whole season of football. And I remember I just hated it. I was not going to play football ever again if I could just make it through this season, right? And so I went through that season, and lo and behold, I never played football again until I hit high school. Now, hear what I'm saying, young people. I want you to understand this, because some people think that, just because you have to play when you're 2 all the way up and all the way up to high school, and you have to have football on your mind the whole time. I was gifted, but I did not play football again until high school. Now, in junior high school, I did other things. Guys, and this is for the ones that may say, hey, man, I don't want to play football. I want to do something else. Guys, I was in the band in middle school. I saw my brother come in with a trombone, and I did my boy like this, and I was like, hey, man, that's my instrument. I still got it at the house. I want to come up and help him out here a little bit, see if I still got it. But I played in the band. Anybody in here want to play an instrument one day? Yeah. So most people think that you have to do one thing or the other, but God has gifted you with a lot of gifts. He's placed a lot of things inside of you guys, and you can do anything through Christ. And so I started playing in the band in middle school, so everybody was like, well, you should be on the football field. Well, I was in middle school playing in the band. And so I was watching them play. They were getting hit, okay? So lo and behold, so you say, Leonard, how did you ever get into football again? Well, at a certain point, all of my friends went into high school. We started going into high school, and one of my buddies said, hey, when we get to high school, we're going to try out for the football team. And I knew I could play football. I just didn't want to. And so that was just going to be our rite of passage, if you will, Pastor Lester. And so we went and we played. We actually played football. We tried out, and I actually made the football team in my high school at Kendrick High School back in Columbus, Georgia. And as a freshman, I remember going in and playing, and I was still undersized. And so, if you can even imagine that, right? So tonight, I'm going through some things, and I'm going to share some things, and I hope I can just bring this back in for the ones that are not youth, that may not understand where I'm coming from. But when we got there, in high school, I started playing ball there. I did not start my first year. I was on the bench, and it was me and a couple other guys that we just had a bench crew. and we did that for the first year. We had to humble ourselves and sit there and learn the game. But then the next year, we ended up starting. As a sophomore, I was starting in high school on the varsity team. And that year, something clicked with everybody, and God just put something in my heart out. And every Friday, now I'm gonna back up because this thing has to tie in. I want you to understand that how God is so real and how He's so important in your life. You know, my mother, she took me to church. I told you that. Every Friday night there was a game. But in our church, we went to church, Pastor Lester. We went to church on Wednesday, Friday, and all day on Sunday. I mean, some of y'all may not understand where I'm going with this. But we went to church, let me say it again. We went to church on Wednesday, we went to church on Friday, and all day Sunday. So what happens on Friday night? They're football games. So that was a problem for my mama. My mom was like, hey, buddy, you're supposed to be at church on Friday night. So we had to do some negotiating at that point. And my head football coach, after he saw the talent, he went to my mama and he said, I promise you we'll pray for every game if you let this boy play. And my mama said, okay, we'll let him play. And so we ended up playing football and going, having a good career. But as we started going into our senior year, and I'm talking to you guys, the colleges started coming in. And they started wanting to look at me to play offensive line. They wanted me to play a offensive guard. And they were saying that I was too short to play. I was too little. I was probably about 6'2", 210 pounds at that time. And I can remember, some of you may remember, I know Brother Billy may remember coaches like Johnny Majors and Billy Brewer from Ole Miss, and some of those guys were coming down to town to see me play. And I remember Coach Majors came in and he said, he came into the office, they pulled me out of class, and he said, Leonard, you're a great ball player, but you're not going to fit in Tennessee's program at offensive line. You're just not big enough. And I remember just getting all downhearted about it. I mean, even though it was a lot of respect being shown, I just remember it was just a gut-wrenching thing for me. And it's amazing now that I look back at things, and I'm having an opportunity to share this with you as well. You know, how He placed me in a position where I was between the tackles, Pastor Lester. How many know that life is going to give you some tackles? You're going to take some tackles. And I actually played guard in between the tackles. That's called the trenches. How many know every day we get up in the morning, we're going into the trenches? We got to fight this battle for Christ, right? We got to go out here every day, and we have to walk and we have to live. When you go to school, young people, you're in the trenches every single day, and we know that, and we're praying for you. But we went in there, and Pat Dye came down to the school, and Pat Dye came into my high school. He pulled me out of class. They said, well, where's Leonard? I want to see him. He was looking for an All-American tight end friend that I had, and he wanted to come in and see the All-American tight end. He had no clue that I was there. As he started watching film, my high school coach said, you need to check out this other offensive lineman there. Coach Dye said, well, let me see the film. He looked at it and he said, well, go get him out of class. Well, they said, what class are you in? And I was in band class. I was playing my trombone. And he said, oh, well, maybe that's the reason why he ain't going to a D1 school. But anyway, that's just, Coach Dye is kind of funny. But anyway, Coach Dye brought me out of the classroom. They got me out of the classroom, and I went and talked to Pat Dye. He said, son, I want you to come take a visit at Auburn University. At that point in time, I probably was about 100% sure that I was going to go and visit Ole Miss. So I was going to go with Coach Joe Lee Dunn and Billy Brewer and those guys, and I was going to go out to Ole Miss and go out to Mississippi and play. One of the reasons being my high school coach was from Mississippi, and that was his dream. So I was going to do that for him. And so Pat Dye said, come on over here on your last visit and go to Auburn. Went to Auburn University on a visit, and me and my friends was there. The All-American tight end friend came, and we was just going to have one big good time down at Auburn and enjoy each other one last time as seniors. And then we were just going to go our separate ways. I had no intentions of going to Auburn. So Pat Dye comes in at the end, and he brings you into this big room, and he says, this is where, they offer you a scholarship. So we're in this big old room. I'm 17, 18 years old, And he's sitting behind this big oval desk. I'm talking about it's probably bigger than what they have at the White House, I'm sure. And I'm sitting there looking at him, and he said, son, if you would, we'd like to offer you a scholarship to come to Auburn University. So I stopped and paused, and I looked at Coach Dye dead in the eye, and I said, Coach, I said, I think the only reason why you want me to come to Auburn University because you want my All-American tight end friend to come to Auburn too. And I said, so I'm not going to come to Auburn University. So I turned down a full athletic scholarship at 18 years old. Now, my mama would have been in that room. She probably would have had a fit. And I walked out of that room, Coach Dye's room, with respect. So Coach Dye, when I told him that, he turned his desk around, he turned his chair around, and I could see him kind of snicker a little bit because I had called him out. And I don't know if you can hear me, but he turned around and he snickered. He turned back around to me. He leaned forward and he said, son, if you come to Auburn, I promise I'm going to give you a fair chance to play if you come here. So I said, okay. And I still left out without the scholarship. I turned it down. By the time I got from Auburn University back to Columbus, Georgia, he had all his coaches sitting in my front yard. So we were sitting in the front yard, and my coach, my high school coach that was a Ole Miss fan from a child up, he was telling me, hey man, I think it's going to be a better fit for you to go to Auburn University. So I ended up telling Coach Dye, hey, I'm going to come to Auburn, and I ended up coming to Auburn University, and I ended up having an opportunity. And Coach Dye did exactly what he told me. He said he was going to give me a fair shake. The only problem was he wasn't there after the first year I got there. Somebody say between the tackles. There are always going to be tackles. There are always going to be tackles in life, guys. There are always going to be something that you're going to have to face. It's going to be something that's going to come up, and you have to learn how to live between the tackles, in the trenches. You have to learn how to live in the trenches. And so when I went to Auburn, the newspaper in the hometown said he's not going to make it. He's too small. He's too short. Coach Dye, when I got to Auburn, I went into the cafeteria. The first thing those guys were saying that Coach Dye must have been, inebriated or something because he signed this small little guard, and he allowed him to come up here. And so everybody was talking about me when I walked into the cafeteria. Young people, there are going to be some people that doubt you, but they don't know the God that's inside of you. See, right now, you guys have somebody that's praying for you. That's the reason why you're here tonight. You got greatness inside of you. You got God. You got God on the inside of you right now. He's gifted you to do something, and you're going to do it. And it's nothing there's no enemy out there that can come, no weapon formed against you that will be able to prosper. And so as I went to Auburn University, even though they talked about me that first year, I got redshirted. I was a little light. And 210 when everybody else in my signing class was about 6'3" and above, and they were about 300 pounds. So it was a classic David and Goliath type situation there. When I came into the field, everybody else was this much taller than me. So I'm standing there, and then they were that much bigger. My roommate was 350 pounds walking through the door, and I was 220 walking through the doors, and we were playing the same position. And but I was still bad. I told him, I said, you still getting the top bunk. Either I was bad or I was crazy, right? But I ended up starting my redshirt freshman year at Auburn University, thanks to the good Lord. Thanks to God, man, he allowed me to start. I ended up playing pretty much every snap that Auburn played from 1993 to 1996. My statistics say the only time that I ever came off the field was when we were blowing somebody out. You guys understand that when we are taking a bigger lead, then they'll take the starters and sit them out and rest them up. Well, that was the only time that I missed. If I had my stats in front of me now, those stats would say that we played over 95% of Auburn snaps from 93 to 96. And I give God all the praise for that. Guys, do you know how faithful God is? Do you understand how faithful he is? Do you know that even when I didn't know him personally, even when I didn't know how to handle him, how to communicate with him, how to live for him, God still loved me. He loved me enough to let me have that kind of career on a D1 stage just because he loved me. He loves you, all of you, the same way, young people. And he wants you to live for him. He wants you to live for him. He wants to get that gift out of you. When you that athleticism, that smarts, that knowledge that you have. He wants to grab that and get that gift out of you so for the glory of his kingdom, though. And that's what I had to realize. So after that, we played at Auburn. We had some great times. In 1993, we went undefeated. Y'all see the ring? We had the ring here. I wore it today. I'll let some of the young people see it after we get through. But we went undefeated in 93. We won in 94. We almost went undefeated again. We went 9-1 and won that next year. And then we ended up having a just great career from that point on. But tonight I'm going to leave you. I don't know. I didn't ask Pastor Lesher, so I'm going to be very respectful of time. You got time. But I'm going to leave you with something that I live by. One of the things that came through when I was in Auburn, I was faced with a lot of things. A lot of things came at us. And I told you that I believe in faith, family, finance, and football. That's it. If you see me around town right now, that's what I'm talking about. I'm going to be talking about one of those things. I'm going to either be talking about my faith, Pastor Lester, I'm going to be talking about finance, family, or football. Amen. Now, you're saying, well, why is that so important to you? Young people, I'm going to give you a theory that I had. I didn't know the age group that we were going to be talking to, but I want to make this as simple as I possibly can for you guys. You face a lot of things in life, and we all do, and this may be for the older ones as well. But I had a box that was just a mental box that I had when I was in school. And this is what got me through. I wanted to make sure that my faith was in that box. In that box, my faith was in there. What is my faith? My faith in God. I didn't want anything to shake my faith. Nothing that would contest my faith. Nothing that would reach in my box and steal and take away my faith. This was my treasure box. So young people, you got to have a treasure box of your own. Something that you treasure. It's a mental treasure box. If you have to go get a physical one, get it. But what you're going to do is you're going to put faith in there first. You're going to put God in that box first. And you're going to treasure God, right? And that means that I don't want anybody to come in here and try to take God out of my box. Whatever it may be, whatever may be coming against you, whatever, if it's somebody at school that's bullying, if it's a test that you think is bigger, or if it's something that tries to come in and steer you away, or some kind of group of people that tries to take you to and make you want to go to the left when you should, or to the left when you should be going to the right. Come on, brother. Do you understand what I'm saying? Yeah. When somebody's trying to tell you to do something wrong instead of doing what's right, that's when somebody is trying to come in and take away my God out of my box. Come on. So I put faith in that box first. Now this is what I had to do mentally. And then the other thing that I wanted to put in my box was my family. My family had to be in the box. At that time, that was my mother, my stepfather, my family, the people that believed in me, the people that were praying for me. Amen. That was my family, okay? Young people, if you don't do anything else, if you don't hear me say anything else, obey your parents. Obey them. That your days may be long is what the word says. So you have to obey your parents, your mother, your father. Obey them. When they tell you to do something, do it. Right? And then if your parents are doing something, obey your spiritual parents, your spiritual family. Obey them because they have your best interest at heart. So put your family in the box. And I'm going to tell you what to do with this box now in a minute. And then when I put these things in there, then the other thing that I put in my box at that time, I was in college, I had to put football in that box. I had to put my education in that box. Education is very important, young people. Going to school is very important to get the knowledge that you're going to need to be successful in this life. So I had to put education in this treasure box. Everybody do like this. Everybody do a box. Everybody do it like this. Young people, come on, come on. That's your treasure box. I want you to hold on to your treasure box. And I want you to do like this. I want you to put faith in there. That's God. Say, I want to put God in there. Now, I want to turn around, and now that I got God in there, I'm going to put my family in my treasure box. Amen. Come on, let me see them arms up. Let me see them arms up. Let's go. I'm going to wake you up tonight. Amen. And so now we're going to put our family in there. And then the other thing that we're going to put in there, we're going to put our education. Everybody say education. Education. All right, we're going to put school in there, the things that we learn. And then I had to put football there. That was important to me, my sports. Whatever you're involved in, you're going to have to put that in the box. Now, if there was anything, young people, anything or anybody that tried to take those things away from my box or out of my box or take my box, I had to protect it. Now, understand what I'm saying. You had to protect that box with all costs. That just comes from the offensive lineman in me. We had to protect that quarterback at all costs. We couldn't let nobody. You see people, and when you're watching a football game, and you say, well, he got called for holding, and he just reached out and just grabbed him. At all costs, we had to protect that quarterback. We'll just take the 15-yard penalty. Y'all can talk about us on TV all you want to, but we're not going to let our quarterback get hit, right? So we protect him. And by the way, the only time I ever got called for holding is when I wasn't holding, okay? So, just on the record, just for the record, in case somebody's videoing this. But what I want you to understand is that we wanted to protect that box. Guys, if anything, as you start growing up, there's some teenagers may be in here. If it's boys, if it's girls, if it's parties, if it's gangs, if it's drugs, if it's anything that tries to come in that can detour me or can take away or steal what's in that box, I have to protect myself against that. Right. Are y'all following me? Amen. Guys, this is so important. Guys, that saved me a lot of trouble going through college. That saved me a lot because I realized that some of the things that I thought that was important, it really wasn't. Right. See, if I would have been chasing fast money in college, I could have got in trouble because I could have hurt my family, which was in the box. I could have hurt my God, my faith, which was in that box. Or I could have hurt my education. I could have lost my education because that was in the box as well. So I had to protect the box so I couldn't go in and start doing some of the things that maybe some of the outside folks were doing. Does that make sense? Yes. Yeah. So guys, tonight I want to leave you with some things, one more thing. As I started looking at that box, as you're protecting your box, as you're growing up in life, you're going to have to be able to start learning what to put in that box. And once you get that box and it gets you through a certain point in your life, now it's time to go to that next level. The next level is giving that box back to God. Yes. Giving all of those things that you placed in that box and learning how to give it back to Him. And that's where we are now. We're in a situation now, in a phase of life now where we're learning how to give that box back to Him. What do you mean, Leonard? You got all the education at some point. You go to college. Some of you are in this place, you've gone to college. You've got a job now. You're working now. So now we have to be in a place now where we're taking the skill sets that we have, and some of you guys, the young people, you're going to get a chance to go even further than I did. You're going to go play professionally and play in the NFL and the WNBA and all the other leagues that are out there. You're going to get an opportunity to do great things. You may be in politics. You may be a great engineer. You may be a great musician. Whatever it may be. But I want you to understand that whatever you end up doing after you get out in life, you got to learn how to give all of that gift that God placed inside of you back to God. Amen. One of the things that I had to learn playing football, I ended up going and playing in the CFL and playing professionally. I got invited to an all-star game after college, and then I ended up playing professionally over in British Columbia. And one of the things that I wished I had learned while I was on the field that I know now that I would love to share with you is that you can play sports as unto God. Yes. Did you know that you could worship God in your sports? Man, could you imagine if I had lined up at offensive line in front of that defensive line in front of me, and in every play I gave God all that he was worth. Yeah. And I worship God through slamming that defensive lineman down on the ground. How great would I have been? What if I gave his gift back to him? What if you, knowing that you're an athlete, knowing that you're an artist, knowing that you're a musician, what if you could do whatever that is as unto God and not unto man? What if you could worship him by giving God your best in whatever area that you're great in? Amen. That's my challenge to you guys tonight, young people. My challenge, first of all, is that you first understand that you have to have faith. That's the foundation of building that house. You got to have God in your life. The second thing that you got to have is you got to make sure that you are respectful to your family, that you respect your family name. You're playing every game for the name on the back of that jersey, and that's your family name. So you got to honor your mama and your dad. Then the third thing you got to do is you got to put whatever that is, that education inside of that box. You got to get the knowledge. You got to have knowledge to be able to go to that next level. Does that make sense, guys? Yeah. So, guys, I appreciate your time tonight. I don't want to bore you any longer than I probably already have. But I'm going to tell you this, guys. I am so passionate about where we are now. You know, we couldn't have got here if it had not been for the Lord on my side. Amen. Right now, we're in business for ourselves. Again, we went through some tackles. I lost my stepfather, who was my best friend when I got to Montgomery at probably around the age of 25, 26. He was the guy that was leading me. That was another tackle in life. You know, we continue to face tackles in life, but we have to overcome them. Do you know that we're more than conquerors through Christ, which loves us? Did you know that? Did you know that he came that we would have life, that we would have it more abundantly? You know, I ended up working in banking after football. I got into banking. I was real discouraged about the fact that my football career didn't go to the next level as well as I wanted it to go. But then I realized that God had a plan for me. And so I ended up getting in banking. I started working in banking, and then lo and behold, he gave me a position to be able to open up my own business when I turned 30 years old. So I'm 45 today. But for the last 15 years, I've been in business for myself. And my business is helping families. And I try to worship God through my business every single day, just like I went through the field. So everything that I'm telling these young people, I would like to challenge the adults as well. Whatever you're doing, whatever your job is, when you go in there, if you're a teacher, I want you to worship God through teaching. If you're a businessman, I want you to, whatever that business is, I want you to worship God through that business. Let him use your business and he'll take care of your business, right? Amen. And that's what we're doing now in finance, and he's blessing our business. My wife, my son now, I'm trying to teach them the same things that I'm sharing with you. And like Pastor Lester said, if you want to get it done, we got to go to Keisha. You know, Keisha's going to get it done. She's going to make sure we all in the right place. But that's the thing, you know, so he's blessing even now to go further beyond football. And one of the things that I'm so passionate about, and I was so enthused about when I walked through the doors with the young people. Guys, right now there are some things that are happening in our society right now, and those things are not as good as we would like them to be. And the way that we take those things back is going to start right here in the church. And when I walked in those doors and I saw more young people than I saw adults, I knew that's it. That's the foundation. We can change this whole community. We can change the whole city. We can change the state, the country, just with these young people right here. If we can instill the right things in them now to keep them grounded and then be able to get them to be able to walk through this journey called life, then guys, I believe we can change this nation. So guys, I'm so excited to be here. If there's anything that my family and we can do to help you guys along the way, Pastor Lester, please don't hesitate to give us a buzz. because to these young people right here, guys, we're looking for great things to come out of you. We know there's some NFL football players in here. There's some artists in here. There's some musicians, some actors and actresses and singers and all kind of stuff in here. Some engineers, astronauts. Anybody want to be an astronaut? Oopsie, I got an astronaut in here. Hey. So, man, we are super excited to see what happens and, guys, what comes out of this right now. Guys, we're going to pray with you guys one more time, and I'm going to sit down if that's okay, Pastor Lester. God, we just thank you right now for this opportunity, God, to share with your children, your people tonight, God. And God, we just ask, God, that you would speak, God, that you would speak to their heart, that you have spoken to their heart tonight. But God, I ask that you would cover each and one of these young children tonight, God. I ask that you would just put your arms around them, God, that you would just walk them through this journey of life, God. Lord, let them know that they're loved, God, regardless of what their situations may be. God, we just ask, God, that you would just put your loving arms around each and every child that's in this room tonight. We ask that you would bless their homes, the households that they're representing tonight, their parents that may or may not be here tonight. God, we ask, God, that you would bless them right now, that they will be able to see you within their own children tonight, God. God, we ask, God, for miracles tonight, God, that performed in these children's life. God, we ask, God, that you would just bring about an expected end in their life, God, a destiny, God, that you treat. We know that you came that they would have life and have it more abundantly, God. And God, we pray for abundance in their life, God. We pray for miracle working power in their life, God. And God, we ask that you'll bless this ministry, Pastor Lester and this ministry, God. We ask, God, that you will just continue to bless them with the resources needed, God, to continue to reach the young people in this area, God, to continue to reach out into this community, God. God, we ask that you'll bring the people from north, west, south, east, all over the world, God, to be able to pour into this ministry, God, that they will be able to make a difference in this area, God. And God, we just thank you for them and their hearts tonight, God. And we just ask, God, that you will bless us and bless everyone under my voice. In Jesus' name we pray. Amen. Amen.
Amen. Now, young people, what did he say you need to have? A what? Faith. Well, what's that thing? What is it? And what is in that box?
Faith.
First?
Your family.
Amen. Okay, that's good. And maybe football or maybe, how about education? Who likes school in here? You like school?